Hi, I'm Andrew Pierce with EPICS at Purdue. Today I'm going to walk you through our design exercise. Instead of just telling you about design thinking and how design should work, we're going to have you go ahead and jump right in and experience it for yourself, and we'll talk about the things you learn along the way. In order to do this exercise, there's two things you're really going to need. One is a partner, so make sure you have somebody to do this exercise with you, and the other one is some prototyping supplies, things like some colored paper, pencils, scissors, tape, maybe popsicle sticks might be helpful. If you don't have anything like that laying around, you can check some out from the EPICS lab. Are you ready? Let's go ahead and begin. Okay, we're going to jump right in and have you design the ideal wallet. I'm going to give you 3 minutes right here in the box to go ahead and jump in and sketch your ideal wallet. It's going to feel a little bit rushed. That's okay. Just go ahead and roll up your sleeves and let's see what you can get done. So I'm going to give you a 3-minute timer beginning now. Go ahead and sketch your ideas here. Okay, how did that feel? My guess is probably not that great. That's a typical problem-solving approach where we jump right into a problem using our own experiences and our own knowledge to try and make something that's perfect for us, and it doesn't really help anyone else. It doesn't make a good product if it only works for you. So let's try a little bit different approach. I'm going to walk you through the design process that you will use throughout this semester in EPICS. It's a human-centered design thinking approach that I think will really help you. So the first thing we're going to do in that process is to talk with our partner and try and understand what they need. So your new challenge here is to design something that's both useful and meaningful to your partner, not just to you. The most important thing when you're designing something for another person is to gain empathy for that person. That means that you can walk a mile in their shoes, understand what they feel and what they think. So the first way to do that is to interview them. I'm going to give you 3 minutes per partner for 6 minutes total to go ahead and just talk to each other. As a starting point, maybe walk your partner through the contents of their wallet. Have them show you what they keep and what they would want out of an ideal wallet. I'm going to give you that 6 minutes now. Let's begin. Okay, go ahead and switch roles and begin. Okay, great. Now that you understand your partner a little bit, what I want you to do is to translate all of that information that you got in your interview into a problem statement. This is a concise statement about what you're going to get done in your problem, and it'll help guide you through the rest of the design process. So in the right-hand box here, I want you to put your partner's name at the top and really boil down that whole conversation into a simple statement of what they need. My partner needs a way to blank. And then think about what were the things that you maybe didn't see coming? What was something surprising to you? And in the bottom box, go ahead and put surprisingly or because or but my partner does this, and figure out what's that insight, what's that special thing that makes your partner's view of the wallet really unique. I'm going to give you 3 minutes to do that, and let's go ahead and begin. Okay, great. Now that you have a little bit better understanding of your partner and what they want to get out of a wallet, I want you to interview them again, but this time instead of just asking those factual questions, what do you want out of a wallet and what do you want to put in it? Try to understand them as a person, see the human side of what they need. So I want you to interview them again and really ask for the feelings, the emotion. Forget the wallet for a little bit. Try to get to know that person. Are you ready? Okay, let's start that second interview. I'll give you 3 minutes each and begin. Okay, go ahead and switch roles and begin. Great. Now that you've really dug in and tried to understand what your partner wants to get out of their wallet and why, I want you now to make a list of user needs. These are simple statements that try to get to the heart of what are the main things that your partner wants to get out of their wallet. Go ahead and write down the 3 that you think are the most important in the box here. I'll give you 3 minutes for this, and go ahead and begin. All right, now that you understand your partner a little bit better and what their main needs are, we're going to go into the next step, which is to translate those user needs into what we call a specification. And a specification is a quantitative or measurable outcome that we're going to be able to get out of our final design. So as we evaluate designs later on, we can go back to our specifications and say, which ones really meet these requirements? I'm going to give you an example of how you might translate a user need into a specification. So our partner might have told us that they wanted their wallet to be lightweight. And we could come back and say, okay, if I think about what that means in terms of a measurable, I would say that wallet should weigh less than 8 ounces, for example. Now, they may not have told you exactly what that metric is, and you don't have time to do background research and look at standards and the things you would do within a big project to figure that out. So feel free to take a little bit of artistic license here and make an educated guess. Now, in a real project, you may have many specifications to meet one user need. But in this case, I want you to go ahead and just come up with one simple specification that better describes each of your user needs so that we can use those as we proceed through the design process. So I'm going to give you 3 minutes now. Write down one specification for each user need in the boxes below. Are you ready? Okay, begin. All right, great. Now that you have your specifications, it's time to get into the ideation phase. This is the really fun part where we get to start coming up with ideas on how to solve the problem. So what I want you to do first across the top of the box is rewrite your problem statement. This will remind you exactly what it is that you're trying to solve and make sure you're staying within the scope you set for yourself. Then I'm going to give you 6 minutes to come up with as many ideas as you can for how to create a new wallet for your partner. There are 5 boxes here. Try to fill them all up. not with a written idea, but with a sketch or a drawing, something that will convey the idea of what you want to get from the wallet. Try to make them radically different, not small variations on a theme, and then give each a short name so as we move forward you can refer back to those ideas. Okay, I'm going to give you your 6 minutes now. Ready? Begin. Okay, now that you have your ideas, the next step is to go over those ideas with your partner and get their feedback. We're going to give you 4 minutes each to talk about your ideas. Try not to defend your ideas if your partner criticizes them, but instead take those criticisms as an opportunity to learn more about the problem and what you're trying to solve, and how your partner would utilize your wallet. Take some space and time to really listen and understand what they want to get out of this. Every time you get feedback, it's an opportunity to improve your design. Put any notes here about changes you'd like to make. I'll give you 8 minutes and begin. Okay, go ahead and switch roles and begin. All right, so the next step is to evaluate those designs and try and figure out which of your ideas was the best concept to move forward with. During the ideation phase, we really don't want to be self-critical because that hampers our ability to be creative. But at some point, we have to decide what's the best idea to move forward with. So what I want you to do is to go back and think about each of those ideas you came up with and pick the best 3 and write those short names you came up with here. And then I want you to go back to your specifications and write your 3 specifications back in right here. So that's those metrics we talked about, like weighing less than 8 ounces. And then for each of your designs, you can score each idea on a scale of 1 to 5 in terms of how well they meet that metric. So if our metric was it's less than 8 ounces, something that's 8 ounces exactly may get a middle score. One that's higher than 8 ounces may get a bad score of a 1. And something that's less than 8 ounces or minimal weight may get a 5. So you're going to indicate a number for each of your ideas for each metric. And then once you've done that for all 3 metrics, you can sum the metrics in a given column down here, and hopefully your best idea will have your highest score. Now, of course, there are shortcomings of this decision matrix or any other method for coming up with a solution, but it's an excellent way to communicate with your stakeholders why you picked the idea you did and why you thought it was the best one. So what I want you to do now is take 6 minutes and try to fill this table out and figure out which of your ideas is the best one to move forward with. Are you ready? Let's go ahead and begin that now. Okay, so now you've chosen a best idea, something you want to move forward with. But one of the really important parts about design is that we are constantly iterating. So as you thought through your other ideas, or maybe as you got feedback from your partner, maybe there were new information that showed up or changes that you would like to make, or a synthesis of those ideas that may be better after all. So take a couple of minutes now and reflect to generate a new, detailed final version of your best concept, and draw that here in as much detail as you can. Are you ready? Okay, let's begin. Great. Now that you've worked through and really built out a detailed final version of your design, it's time to build that solution. So now what I want you to do is get out those prototyping supplies and build a prototype of your wallet for your partner. Try to put as much detail into it as you can. It doesn't have to be a real wallet, but try to represent all of the functionality that you talked about. I'll give you time to do that now and begin. Okay, I hope that your wallet came out great. Now's your time to share that solution with your partner and get some feedback. What I want you to do then is to break down that feedback into 4 categories. What worked well and what could be improved? What questions came out from your feedback from your partner? What are the things they didn't understand? And then what new ideas were generated through that? All that information would guide you in improving your prototype and making the next generation version even better. Okay, now that we've finished the exercise, I want to just go over and talk a little bit about things you learned. So reflect on these things for a moment. How did talking to your partner inform your design? Was it a lot different from whenever you just designed for yourself? It's really important as you work through your EPICS project that you meet with your partner and really get to understand them and understand the needs they have from the design. Next thing to think about is, how did testing and getting feedback impact your final design? Was it important that you prototyped and that you let go of those prototypes and really listen to the feedback from your partner? How do you think your design would have ended if you didn't get that feedback? All right, and then the last one is, what did you think was the most challenging part of the process for you? In light of that, how might you anticipate those problems as you work through your EPICS project and work with your real partner? What are things you could do to make those challenges become strengths? So as we close, I just wanted to leave you with a handful of key pieces that I hope you get out of this activity. One is following this human-centered design process. I hope you see how working through these steps, really building empathy with your partner, iterating and prototyping through solutions with them, and getting their feedback can make for a much richer design experience. I hope you see how important it is that you prototype and experiment, try things out. You won't be able to design the perfect anything on the first try. You have to build quick, simple prototypes and get feedback so you learn and can move toward a productive final solution. It's important for you to have a bias toward action. If you sit around and do analysis all day long, you'll never learn how to make a good product. I hope that you'll learn to show and not just tell about your product. Put it in your partner's hands and let them give you feedback. People will give you much richer information if they have something to interact with. And the last one is that power of iteration. The more times that you do something, you're going to learn and be able to evolve that product much better than trying to design the perfect one the first time. Thank you for spending this hour with me, and I hope you've learned a lot. I look forward to your feedback, and have a great semester.